Hello. I received some feedback that some folk are still in need of a little bit more interaction on basic controls in Maya. I'm going to give you a very simple ball exercise in this assignment in hopes that it prepares you better for the one that I assigned for this week. If you cannot master the one assigned for this week, at least master this one, because my goal is just to get you used to the controls in Maya. When you open a basic file, it'll probably look like the one I have open here. I'm going to show you how to set it up so it's easy to work with. First, I'm going to create a polygon primitive sphere. And I'm going to left mouse, drag on the grid to draw it. Then, I want to set up my workspace. I'll go into panels and layouts. I'll put 2 panes stacked. Left click. There you go. On this top one, I want this to be orthographic. The difference between orthographic and perspective is in perspective, objects get smaller in the distance, but in orthographic, objects never get smaller, no matter how far away they are. It's just preferable in this exercise. Now I'm going to use my middle mouse button and I'm zooming out a little bit, and I'm going to place my sphere kind of at the center. This bottom panel, yours may not default to the animation graph editor. So what you do is you go into panels, and then you go to panel, and you find your graph editor. Boom. Now you have on top the side camera panel, and on the below you have your animation graph editor. For all of your assignments, it's best to use your real estate like I'm using it. This top one can either be perspective and a side view. You might want to split this also into 2 more panels. You might just want to be working with perspective up here. Sometimes you want the side, top, or other view. But I like to see everything that's going on with my puppet. I'm going to try to talk very little so I keep this short. Now we're going to make a cycle. So I have this selected. Another important thing to do is to modify freeze transform. Watch what happens over here in your channel box. Remember, you want your channel box showing, not your attribute editor. So I'm going to go modify freeze transform. Boom, those all turn to 0. That's important to do when you move your character around, so we'll talk more about that later. But right now I have my sphere here in the center. I've got 24 frames, so no, we don't have 24 frames, so let's make that 24. I'll type in 24 down here, 24 down here. Watch how this changes my timeline. Boom. I can now just work with 5 frames if I want to, 10 frames, or all 24. I'm going to keep it open to 24 frames. This will be a 1 second long animation because there's 24 frames in every second of animation. In the old days, when they did drawings, they would do 24 drawings if they were doing it at 1s, or 12 drawings if they were doing it on 2s. So, to set a keyframe, I'm going to press S. And what should happen is you'll see a red tick. That's not happening for me. Why is that? It's not setting animation. So another thing I can do, it could be because I have Camtasia running. I'm going to go key selected. Boom, that turns it red, and now you see a tick. So right click, key selected allowed me another way to set keyframes for everything. I'll show you that again later. I'm going to go to frame 24, and look at that. I'm not able to press my S key. So because there's a half dozen ways to do everything in Maya, I'm going to right click, key selected, and now I have a tick there and a tick there. Ha! You did not screw me up this time, Maya. Now I'm going to go view, and I'm going to do frame all because I want to fit my curves into my entire window. Because at frame 12, I'm going to have it go up in the air. So I'm using my middle mouse key and I'm zooming out and pressing my Alt key, my middle mouse key, and I'm moving it down. And if that doesn't make sense to you, remember you need to watch your 1-minute startup movies if you don't understand how the interface works. Okay. Now I'm on frame 12, raise it up a little bit, or I could just type a number here. Look at that. Now, because I introduced that handy dandy little tool of right clicking and then key selected, I can just key my translate Y. And now if I go view, frame all, look at that. My Y shows the movement that's going on. I'm going to press play, and it goes up and down. Another thing you may not have done yet is you need to make sure your settings are correct for animation and that you're in your animation pull down menu, so check those things. We're going to go into Windows, Settings, Preferences, Preferences. And I'm going to make sure that my settings are set to film. You may have defaulted to NTSC or something else in here, so make sure you're on film, left mouse click. Then you can click on your time slider and make sure you're at real time 24 FPS. Most everyone, the first time they use Maya, will be at play every frame and your playback will look all sporadic. Make sure you're at real time 24 FPS and press save. I will now get rid of everything I don't want. So I'm going to highlight my everything except for the Y translate. And then I'm going to left mouse, draw a box around it, and press delete. I'm going to do that also with the visibility and the X translate. Draw a box around it, press delete. And I can only see now my translate Y. I'm going to show you something very important now. Look at that. Everything is empty except for the salmon colored translate Y. That means there's only keyframes on the translate Y. This next technique is what makes you the money as an animator. And not many animators actually know this, which just surprises me. Right click, break your tangents, and look how the pink changes to pink and blue on the tangents. Boom. That means now each side can move independently of the other side. Prior, they influence each other. I should have shown you prior, but you can look at prior on your own. Now, I'm going to make sure everything's selected again. So I just broke my tangents. Now I'm going to weight my tangents. You see a little barbell at the end. And now I'm going to free my tangent weight, and you get a box. I'm only concerned about that box because now I can pick that box and make this look like the page 90 theory page we read, where a ball is bouncing up and down. You should have read about this theory that when something does a fast in or a fast out, there's a great deal of distance covered. This is distance. This is time. It covers this distance and it floats up here. A ball floats and then it rapidly falls down, strikes the ground, and then rapidly rises again. So let's see what happens. Look at that. We have a bouncing ball. I'd like you to get that far on this assignment. Just try out this method first before going into the larger lecture I posted this week if you're having problems with the interface. Try to do what I just did.